The merchant fleet is gone. 20 ships carrying silk, spices, and precious metals now rest on the Mediterranean floor. Zeno of Citium stands at the harbor, watching salvage crews pull waterlogged cargo from the shallows. Everything he built, every connection he cultivated, every plan he constructed, dissolved in a single storm. This is the moment his real education begins. When the garden dies, most people spend years mourning the lost harvest. Zeno understood something different. Some soil grows richest after fire. You know this feeling. Not the shipwreck, but the recognition. The project that consumed 3 years and produced nothing.
The relationship that promised everything and delivered emptiness.
The career path that led to a dead end. The skills you developed, the technology made obsolete. The garden of your life, carefully tended, suddenly barren. This is not failure. This is preparation. Zeno developed what became the foundation of Stoic philosophy from this precise moment of apparent ruin. His method for cultivation after devastation works not because it promises quick recovery, but because it understands the natural cycles of growth and dormancy. The seasons that feel most wasted often produce the deepest roots. The first stage of Zeno's method involves accepting the fallow period, not fighting it. When his ships sank, Zeno did not immediately seek new cargo to replace what was lost. He did not borrow money to rebuild the same business in the same waters. Instead, he recognized that the garden had entered its winter season. Winter is not punishment. Winter is preparation. The soil processes nutrients invisible to the surface. Roots strengthen in directions you cannot see. Seeds that seem dead prove their viability through patient endurance. The first principle of cultivation after loss. Fallow periods serve essential functions. Your instinct will be to replant immediately, to fill the empty space with anything that grows quickly. Resist this impulse. The ground that recently held failed crops needs time to recover its nutrients. The mind that recently held broken dreams needs time to process what those dreams revealed about your deeper intentions.
Accepting the fallow period means working with natural rhythms rather than against them.
The second stage addresses soil preparation, not seed selection. Zeno spent months studying philosophy in Athens, not because he planned to become a teacher,
but because he needed to understand what had failed and why.
He excavated his assumptions about success, wealth, and purpose. He composted the remains of his merchant identity into nutrients for something entirely different. The soil preparation happens internally, where no progress is visible to observers. This reveals the second principle. Deep cultivation requires invisible preparation. The world will pressure you to show immediate results, to demonstrate productivity, to prove you have recovered from your losses. But gardens do not operate on quarterly reports. The most important work happens underground, in darkness, at speeds that cannot be measured by external metrics. Root systems develop according to their own timeline. Character formation follows similar laws. The third stage concerns seed selection based on long-term climate, not current weather. Zeno could have used his philosophical education to return to commerce as a more sophisticated merchant. Instead, he chose to plant ideas that would grow for centuries, rather than crops that would harvest in seasons. He selected principles over profits, wealth, influence over income. These seeds required decades to mature, but they proved resistant to every storm that followed. This demonstrates the third principle. Cultivation for permanence requires different seed selection than cultivation for immediate harvest. The garden that serves next season needs different plants than the garden that serves next century. What do you want growing in your life 30 years from now? What character traits will still matter when current circumstances have completely changed? These questions guide proper seed selection during replanting seasons. The fourth stage involves cultivation methods that work regardless of external conditions. Zeno developed daily practices that strengthened his philosophical foundation, whether Athens prospered or struggled, whether students came or stayed away, whether his teachings gained popularity or faced opposition. His cultivation method did not depend on favorable weather, rich soil, or cooperative conditions. It worked through discipline, consistency, and attention to what remained within his control. This teaches the fourth principle: sustainable cultivation must be independent of circumstances you cannot control. The garden method that requires perfect weather will fail during difficult seasons. The character development that depends on supportive environments will collapse when support disappears. Zeno's approach produced growth through drought, flood, political upheaval, and social change, because it drew nutrients from internal rather than external sources. The fifth stage addresses harvest philosophy that protects against future devastation. When Zeno's philosophical school began producing influence, when his ideas attracted followers, when his reputation grew beyond Athens, the attachment patterns that had made his merchant losses so devastating. He harvested wisdom without hoarding it, shared influence without grasping it, built reputation without depending on it. His harvest methods prevented the accumulation of assets that could be destroyed by future storms. This reveals the fifth principle: proper harvesting prevents future garden death. The way you collect and hold your successes determines their vulnerability to loss. Harvest methods that create dependency produce fragile abundance. Harvest methods that maintain detachment produce anti-fragile wealth. What you can lose controls you. What you hold lightly serves you. Zeno's method teaches a paradoxical truth about cultivation. The gardens that appear most dead often contain the most potential for meaningful growth. The merchant who lost everything became the philosopher whose ideas outlasted empires. The failure that seemed final became the foundation for teachings that still guide minds 23 centuries later. Your dead garden might be preparing soil for growth you cannot yet imagine. The method also addresses timing in ways that modern culture resists. Real cultivation takes years to show results. Zeno's philosophical system required decades to mature into comprehensive wisdom. The influence that made him historically significant grew slowly, through patient daily attention to principles that seemed to produce no immediate advantage. His garden grew according to natural rhythms, not artificial deadlines. Consider what dies when your garden fails. Often what appears to be complete loss is actually the clearing away of growth that was preventing deeper cultivation. The career that ends forces you to discover work that actually matters to you. Patterns that were blocking authentic connection. The plan that collapses creates space for purposes you could not see, while focusing on smaller objectives. The dead garden creates opportunities unavailable during seasons of surface success. When everything is growing, you focus on maintenance rather than fundamental change. When everything has died, you can replant according to deeper wisdom, rather than continuing patterns that produced previous harvests. The fallow period offers freedom from expectations, obligations, and momentum that might otherwise prevent essential transformation. Zeno understood that some seeds only germinate after fire. Some growth only happens after apparent destruction. Some gardens only achieve their full potential after going completely fallow. The periods you think you are wasting might be the seasons that prepare your soil for the harvest that will define your life. The harbor where Zeno lost his ships is now silent. The cargo that seemed so important has been forgotten for millennia. But the ideas he planted during his season of loss continue growing in minds across the world. The garden that appeared to die produced the most lasting fruit of his life. Your fallow season might be preparing similar soil. If this moved you, comment "The Citadel holds" below. It is our sign that you carry the philosophy with you. Subscribe and I will see you in the next one.